Lily ran through the forest, her small frame slipping through the thick underbrush as fast as she could. Every step felt heavy, her heart beating so fast she thought it would burst. She didn't know exactly why she was running, only that the alarms had sounded and the loudspeaker messages had warned everyone to leave the colony. The sky had darkened with strange clouds, and distant flashes of light streaked across the horizon. Something was coming, and it was coming fast. Behind her, the sounds of metal boots echoed. She froze for a moment, pressing herself against a tree, trying not to breathe too loudly. The boots stopped. She held her breath. A shadow passed across her vision. She risked a glance. A tall, strange figure with shining armor walked past, scanning the trees with eyes that glowed faintly. Lily didn't recognize it, but she knew it wasn't human. It was one of them, the hunters. The aliens had come to the colony before, testing the humans, but this was different. This time, they had come to hunt. She ran again, ignoring the pain in her legs. Her mind raced, thinking of her family, her home, and the small pack of humans who had fled to the forest with her. She couldn't see them now. She didn't know if they were alive or already caught. Every sound made her jump. Every shadow made her duck. Her breath came in sharp, quick gasps. Suddenly she tripped over a root and fell hard onto the wet ground. Mud covered her hands and knees. She groaned, trying to pull herself up, but before she could, a net fell from above, wrapping around her arms and legs. She screamed and struggled, but it was too strong. The hunters were faster than she could imagine. She felt herself lifted into the air and carried away. When she opened her eyes again, she was inside a strange metal cage. The walls were smooth and cold, reflecting a greenish light that seemed to come from nowhere. The cage was small, barely enough room for her to sit. She tried the door. It was locked tight. Panic rose in her chest. She banged on the metal, shouting for help, but no one came. The forest noises outside seemed distant, unreal. Then she heard a groan. At first, she thought it was part of her imagination, but then she realized it was coming from the corner of the cage. Lily turned and saw a man slumped against the wall. His face was pale and his clothes were torn. A gash on his arm was bleeding, and he looked exhausted. "Hey, are you okay?" Lily asked, her voice shaking. The man lifted his head slowly. "I'll survive," he said, his voice weak but steady. You should rest. They'll be back." Lily frowned. "They? Who?" "The hunters," he said. They don't want to kill us right away. They like the chase. They'll let us run just to see if we can survive. You're part of the game now." Lily stared at him. She didn't understand what he meant. "A game? What are you talking about?" The man coughed and sat up straighter, wincing at the pain in his arm. "I've seen this before. They don't kill humans at first. They make it a hunt. They track us. They want to see how smart we are, how fast we are, how much we trust each other. It's dangerous." Lily shivered. She had never been hunted before. She had never even imagined something like this. Fear gnawed at her, sharp and bitter. "But why me?" "I'm just a girl," she whispered. "They don't care who we are," the man said. "They only care if we survive or fail. The stronger, smarter, and braver. The longer we last, the more interesting we are to them." Lily didn't like the sound of that. She looked around the cage, her mind spinning. She had to get out, but how? The man noticed her thoughts. "You're thinking the same thing I am," he said. "We need a plan. Running blindly won't work. They know the forest better than we do. They have technology, traps, ways to watch us. We can't just hide. We need strategy." Lily nodded slowly. She had no idea what kind of strategy would work, but she knew she had no choice. She had to trust this stranger, even if she didn't know him. "What's your name?" she asked. "Jack," he said. And yours? Lily, she said. Okay, Jack. We have to get out of here. Jack studied the cage carefully. The walls were smooth, but he noticed small seams and panels. The cage isn't just a cage, he said. It's controlled. Sensors, maybe cameras. They want to see how we react. If we panic, it's worse for us. If we think we might survive. Lily shivered again, but she tried to stay calm. What do we do first? Jack thought for a moment. We wait. Watch. Listen. They'll come to release us or try to scare us out. We have to be ready when the door opens. Don't run blindly. Stick together. Trust me. The minutes passed slowly. The cage felt smaller and colder with each tick of time. Lily and Jack didn't speak much. Instead, they watched the forest through the thin bars. The shadows moved strangely, like smoke in the wind. Every rustle made them flinch. Finally, the door slid open with a hiss. A soft green light flooded the cage. Jack held out his hand to Lily. "Stay close," he whispered. She nodded, grabbing his hand. They stepped out into the forest. It was quiet, too quiet. The trees towered above them, thick and dark. Strange devices hung from branches, small drones buzzing softly, watching. Lily swallowed hard. She had never seen technology like this. "Keep moving," Jack said. "Don't stop. They'll follow. But we can survive if we stay smart." They ran together, carefully, sticking to shadows and low paths. Hours passed. The sun began to set, painting the sky with red and orange streaks. Lily's legs ached, her lungs burned, but she forced herself to keep going. Every now and then they paused, hiding behind rocks or fallen trees, while small drones passed by, scanning. They found a small stream and stopped to drink. Lily bent over, her hands in the cold water. Jack watched the trees, tense. "We need to think about the night," he said. "They hunt at night, too. We can't let them catch us sleeping." Lily nodded. She was scared, but something inside her didn't want to give up. "We can survive," she whispered. "We have to." Jack smiled faintly. "That's the spirit. Fear is normal, but if we give in to it, we're done. The hunters, they can sense weakness, confidence, even small confidence confuses them." Night fell, and the forest became a place of shadows and strange sounds. Owls hooted, insects buzzed, and distant roars echoed. Lily shivered but stayed close to Jack. They built a small shelter with branches, careful not to make a fire that would attract attention. During the night, they spoke quietly about their lives. Lily told Jack about the colony, her family, her school, and the small joys she had before the hunt began. Jack shared stories of his travels, his family, and the mistakes that led him to be caught. Slowly, they started to trust each other, understanding that survival depended on cooperation. By dawn, they were exhausted but alive. They knew the hunters were watching, waiting for them to make a mistake. But they had a plan. Move silently, stay together, and look for weaknesses in the alien traps. Lily felt a small spark of hope. Maybe humans were not as weak as the hunters thought. Maybe if she and Jack worked together, they could survive. The first day of the hunt had ended, but the real challenge was just beginning. Lily looked at Jack, determination in her eyes. He nodded back, silently agreeing. Neither of them knew what lay ahead, but one thing was certain. They would not give up without a fight. And somewhere in the shadows, the hunters watched, unaware that their prey was already learning, already thinking, already planning. Lily and Jack were no longer just humans in the forest. They were survivors, and the hunt had only made them stronger. The next morning, the forest seemed quieter, but Lily and Jack both knew it was only the calm before the storm. The air smelled damp, and the tall trees cast long shadows over the ground. Every rustle, every snap of a branch made Lily jump. She clutched a small stick like it could be a weapon. Jack noticed and gave her a small, reassuring smile. "Don't worry," he said softly. "We'll be fine, but we have to stay alert. They'll watch our every move." Lily nodded, trying to calm her shaking hands. "I don't even know how they can see us. They're invisible sometimes. The drones, I saw them. They float, and then suddenly, they are gone." Jack frowned. "They aren't invisible. They just blend in. Technology like that can hide in plain sight. We have to pay attention to shadows, reflections, or any movement. Anything unusual might be a drone or a trap." They moved carefully, stepping lightly over roots and leaves. The forest was dense and the path was unclear. Sometimes they had to climb over fallen logs, sometimes crawl under low branches. Every sound made their hearts race. Jack taught Lily how to pause and listen. "Sound travels differently here," he explained. "We can hear the hunters before they see us if we pay attention, and they don't like to be surprised." Hours passed like this. The sun rose higher and their muscles ached. Lily stumbled over a rock and almost fell into a small stream. Jack grabbed her hand quickly. "Easy," he said. "We can't afford injuries. Every scratch matters." They stopped by a clearing to rest. Lily drank from a small puddle of water while Jack surveyed the area. His eyes moved slowly, scanning the trees, the ground, and the sky. "They'll come for us soon," he said. "But we might be able to turn things around. We just need to think like them. Predict their moves." Lily frowned. "Predict them? How? I don't even know what they're thinking." Jack smiled faintly. "That's the point. We watch patterns. Every creature, even aliens, has a pattern. They move in certain ways. They repeat actions. If we can see that, we can use it against them." Lily considered this. She had never thought about hunting in this way before. To survive, they had to be clever, not just fast. She remembered her father telling her stories about animals and how they escaped predators. Maybe some of that knowledge could help. As they moved again, Lily noticed something. A branch snapped in a strange way and a shadow flickered above. "Jack, look," she whispered, pointing. Jack nodded. "Good eye. That's one of their drones. Small, quiet, but it sees everything. Follow me." They ducked behind a thick bush. Jack pressed his hand over Lily's mouth as the drone hovered past. Its light scanned the ground, moving slowly as if it were searching. The two held their breath until it moved away. "That's too close," Lily said, trembling. "Too close. But we survived." "That's what matters," Jack replied. "Now we know where one patrol passes. We can use that." They decided to rest for a few more minutes. Jack pulled a small knife from his belt. It was human-made, simple but sharp. "We might need this," he said, "not to fight them directly, just for small traps or distractions." Lily nodded. She didn't like the idea of hurting anything, even the hunters. But she understood. Survival was different. It wasn't about being cruel. It was about staying alive. The next part of the day was tense. Every few minutes, a distant roar or mechanical hum reminded them that the hunters were close. Lily began to understand Jack's calm attitude. Panic didn't help. Thinking, observing, and planning did. As they moved through a narrow valley, they found a small, abandoned cabin. It looked old, from a time before the aliens came. The door was broken, and the windows were dark. Jack peeked inside. "It's empty. Probably hasn't been used in years. Could be a good place to rest." Lily hesitated. "But what if they see us there?" Jack shook his head. "If we stay in the open, they'll find us anyway. A place like this gives us cover, even if only temporary. We'll be safer here than running in the open." They entered the cabin carefully. Inside, the floor was dusty and cobwebs hung in the corners. A few broken chairs and a small table were all that remained. Jack helped Lily check the windows. "We can see if anything comes near," he said. That will give us time to hide or move. Lily sank onto the floor, exhausted. I didn't know it would be like this, she whispered. I don't know. I thought we would just run, and maybe someone would save us. I never imagined it would be this. Jack sat beside her. I know. Me neither. But now we have to survive ourselves. No one else will save us. That's why we need to trust each other. Alone, we wouldn't last a day. Together, maybe we have a chance. Lily looked at him. She had never met anyone like Jack before. Strong, calm, smart. And somehow she felt safe near him, even in the middle of danger. She nodded. Okay. Together. The rest of the morning passed quietly. They ate some berries they found nearby and drank from a small stream that ran behind the cabin. Jack taught Lily how to identify safe berries from poisonous ones. Not all food is good food, he said. We have to be careful. One mistake can be fatal. By midday, they heard the faint hum of drones again. Jack stood and listened. They're checking the area. Probably saw the cabin and want to make sure no humans are hiding here. Lily swallowed hard. What do we do? Jack thought for a moment. We don't run, we wait. They have rules, patterns. They don't just attack without reason. If we move carefully, we can mislead them. The drones hovered closer. Lily held her breath, staying behind the broken table. Jack whispered instructions. Stay low, move slowly if needed, and follow me exactly. Don't make a sound. The drones passed the cabin without noticing them. Lily exhaled slowly, relief flooding her. That was close, she said. Too close, Jack agreed. But we learned something. They are careful. They don't take risks. That means we can use their caution against them. We can trick them. The idea gave Lily a strange thrill. She realized they weren't just running anymore. They were starting to plan. They could think, observe, and even fight back, not with brute force, but with intelligence. As the day wore on, they explored the forest carefully. Jack showed Lily how to hide their tracks, how to move silently, and how to recognize signs of hunters. They found broken branches, unusual footprints, and small devices that had been left behind by aliens. Each discovery gave them more confidence. By evening, they returned to the cabin to rest. The sun was low, and shadows stretched long across the forest floor. Lily sat outside for a moment, looking at the sky. Do you think we can really survive this? She asked quietly. Jack sat beside her. I don't know, but if we stick together, pay attention, and use our heads, I think we have a chance. They may be stronger, faster, and smarter in some ways, but we have something they don't fully understand. Humans can adapt, think, and trust each other. That makes us dangerous in ways they can't predict. Lily nodded. She didn't fully understand what he meant, but she believed him. Something inside her had changed since the hunt began. She no longer felt like a scared girl running blindly. She felt like a survivor. Night fell, and the forest became alive with strange sounds. Owls, insects, and distant mechanical noises mixed together. Lily and Jack stayed alert, taking turns keeping watch. They shared whispered stories to keep their spirits up, reminding each other of who they were fighting for, their lives, their freedom, their chance to survive. During the night, Lily noticed small movements near the cabin. Jack saw it too. Hunters, he whispered, but they're not attacking yet. They're observing, waiting, curious. Lily felt a chill, but Jack put a hand on her shoulder. Let them watch. We're not hiding out of fear anymore. We're learning. Tomorrow we start using what we learn to fight back, not with weapons, but with brains. That's how we'll survive. For the first time, Lily smiled faintly in the dark. She realized the hunt wasn't just about fear. It was a challenge, and she and Jack were ready to accept it. They didn't know what the next day would bring, but one thing was certain. Humans could be clever, strong, and brave when they had to be. And together, Lily and Jack were already proving it. The hunters thought they were in control, but the humans were learning fast. Every move, every observation, every small success gave them confidence. The game had changed. They were no longer just prey. They were becoming players in the hunt. The morning air was cool and damp when Lily and Jack left the cabin. They moved slowly, carefully, making sure not to leave obvious tracks. Every step was deliberate. The forest was quiet, but both of them knew it was only quiet for now. Somewhere above, small drones hovered, scanning for movement. "Today," Jack whispered, "we stop only running. We start using the forest. We start using what we know against them." Lily's eyes widened. "You mean, fight back?" "Not directly," Jack said. "We don't have their strength or weapons. But we have our brains. We can trick them, confuse them, even trap them. That's how humans survive." Lily nodded, a mix of fear and excitement in her chest. She had never thought of herself as clever or strong. But Jack's confidence made her believe it could be true. They moved deeper into the forest, sticking to thick trees and shadows. Jack taught Lily how to identify likely paths that hunters might take. Broken branches, unusual footprints, small patches of disturbed grass, all were signs to track. "See this?" he said, pointing to a flattened path. "They come this way often, probably following prey. If we use that, we can lead them somewhere we want." Lily nodded. "Somewhere safe?" Jack shook his head slightly. "Not safe. Somewhere we can control. Somewhere we can make them second-guess themselves." They reached a narrow ravine with a small stream at the bottom. Jack crouched, studying the ground. "We can use this," he said. "I'll make a small trap. Nothing deadly, just something that slows them down or surprises them. It'll buy us time and teach them that humans are not easy to catch." Lily watched carefully as Jack picked up sticks, rocks, and vines. He began arranging them in a pattern that looked natural but would trip or block anyone following. Lily tried to help, learning quickly. She realized that careful observation and patience could become weapons. "Good," Jack said after a while. "Now we wait. They will come. They always do." Hours passed slowly. Lily sat hidden behind a tree, while Jack stayed near the trap, watching the shadows. Every sound made them alert: the snapping of twigs, the distant hum of a drone, the rustle of leaves. Finally, movement appeared. A small hunting party emerged from the forest, moving quietly but carefully. They were tall, their armor smooth and shiny, their eyes glowing faintly. They looked confident, almost arrogant. But they paused when they reached the ravine, noticing the subtle changes in the ground. Jack whispered, "Now." Lily watched as one of the hunters stepped forward and tripped on the hidden vine Jack had placed. The hunter fell, its mechanical equipment clattering loudly. The others froze, unsure of what had happened. "It works," Lily whispered, a smile forming despite the danger. Jack nodded. "It's only small, but it's proof. They can be fooled. They can be slowed. That's how we survive, by thinking ahead, by being smarter." The hunters recovered quickly, but the delay was enough for Lily and Jack to move quietly deeper into the forest. They didn't run blindly this time. They used shadows, rocks, and fallen trees to hide their movement. Every step was deliberate, every choice careful. By midday, they found a small clearing with tall grass. Jack crouched, studying the area. "This is good. They'll expect us to hide in trees. Tall grass? Not typical for humans. That gives us an advantage." Lily nodded, crouching beside him. "Do we make another trap?" "Yes," Jack said. "But this one will be smarter. Something that surprises them even if they're cautious. Humans survive because we adapt. That's what they don't expect." Together, they used the grass, sticks, and stones to create a hidden pit, shallow but enough to unbalance anyone who stepped into it. Lily worked carefully, remembering Jack's instructions. Her hands were shaky at first, but she soon found rhythm. "Perfect," Jack said finally. "Now we wait again, and this time we don't just hide. We watch, we learn, we prepare for the next move." Hours passed. The forest seemed endless. Lily's stomach growled. Jack offered her a few berries and a sip of water from a small bottle he had saved. "Energy," he said. "We'll need it." Lily smiled faintly. She realized she had changed since the hunt began. Fear was still there, but it was mixed with determination and cleverness. She had learned to notice patterns, to think ahead, and to trust Jack completely. Late in the afternoon, movement appeared. The hunters were cautious now, aware of the earlier trap. They moved slowly, scanning every inch of ground. Lily felt her pulse quicken, but she stayed hidden, watching Jack. He didn't panic. He moved calmly, ready to adjust the trap if needed. One hunter stepped too close to the pit. It stumbled, its foot barely catching the edge, and the others froze. Jack used the moment to distract them, throwing a small rock to create a noise on the other side of the clearing. The hunters turned, and one stepped fully into the pit, losing balance and falling forward. "Yes," Lily whispered, unable to hide her excitement. Jack grinned. "That's it. Small victories. But victories matter. Every mistake they make is our chance to survive longer." The hunters recovered again, but now they were cautious, hesitant. They did not pursue directly. They scanned the area, checking every detail. Lily and Jack moved quietly, keeping their distance, using the forest as cover. As evening fell, they found a shallow cave in a hillside. Jack examined it carefully. "This is good," he said. "It's not visible from above, and it gives us a place to rest and plan. We can even set small alarms to know if they approach." Lily helped him set small noise traps using sticks and stones. Every tripwire, every bent branch would alert them if hunters came near. She began to feel clever, almost proud. They settled inside the cave. Lily leaned against the wall, exhausted. "Jack, I think we're really starting to fight back," she said softly. Jack smiled. "We are, and the more we fight with our brains instead of fear, the stronger we get. They think humans are weak. They think we'll panic, but we adapt. That's our strength." Night fell, and the forest became alive with strange sounds. The hunters moved cautiously outside, their drones hovering silently. Lily and Jack stayed alert, taking turns keeping watch. Every rustle of leaves, every small sound could be a warning. Lily thought about her life before the hunt. School, friends, family, simple days she had taken for granted. Now everything had changed. She had become someone who could survive in the wild, outsmart alien hunters and trust another person completely. She felt a strange pride. Jack noticed her staring into the dark. "You're thinking too much," he said softly. "Focus on the now. We survive one step at a time. That's all we need to do." Lily nodded. "I know, but I feel different, stronger, smarter. I can't explain it, but I think I understand why humans survive." Jack smiled faintly. "Exactly. Humans survive because we can think, adapt, and trust. Trust is more powerful than any weapon. That's something the hunters don't understand yet." Suddenly, a noise echoed outside the cave. Both of them froze. The sound of leaves crunching. Faint, but deliberate. Hunters? Drones? Lily's heart raced. Jack held up a hand, signaling her to stay quiet. They waited. The noise came closer, then stopped. Jack whispered, "They're testing us. They want to see if we'll react. Don't move." Minutes passed, like hours. Then the sounds faded. Lily exhaled slowly, relief flooding her. "That was close," she whispered. "Yes," Jack said. But we survived. And every time they test us, we learn something. We're not just running anymore. We're teaching them that humans can think. And when they finally realize that, they'll be cautious, maybe even afraid. That's when we'll have the upper hand. Lily smiled faintly in the dark. She realized the hunt had changed her. She was no longer just a scared girl running blindly through the forest. She was a survivor, a thinker, and a fighter in her own way. The night passed slowly, but Lily and Jack stayed alert. They spoke quietly, sharing ideas for traps, paths, and strategies. Every word, every thought strengthened their bond. Trust was becoming their greatest weapon, more powerful than fear or brute strength. By dawn, the forest was alive again. Birds chirped, streams glistened in the early light, and the distant hum of drones reminded them that danger was still near. But Lily and Jack moved with confidence now, planning their next moves. Today, they would not just survive. Today, they would start to challenge the hunters. And slowly, carefully, they would show that humans were not weak prey. Humans were clever, adaptable, and capable of turning the hunt into a dangerous game for anyone who underestimated them. The next morning, the forest was quiet. But Lily and Jack knew it was only the calm before the storm. They had learned a lot since the hunt began. They had traps, strategies, and most important of all, trust in each other. They moved cautiously, stepping over roots and fallen branches, listening to every sound around them. "Today," Jack whispered, "we take the next step. We stop hiding so much. We start making them second-guess everything. The hunters think they are in control, but we can change that." Lily nodded, gripping the small knife Jack had given her. She felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. The hunt had already changed her. She was no longer the scared girl who ran blindly. She was someone who could plan, observe, and act. As they moved deeper into the forest, they noticed something unusual. Broken branches and small disturbances in the leaves seemed too deliberate. "They've been here," Lily whispered. "Yes," Jack said. "They're learning too. They are cautious now. But that means we can predict some of their actions. Every hunter has a pattern. Every team has a routine. We just have to watch and wait." They crouched behind a fallen tree and watched. A group of 3 hunters moved through the clearing. They scanned carefully, but their movements were slower than before, almost hesitant. Lily felt a thrill. They were making mistakes now. The humans were teaching them caution. Jack whispered instructions. "Notice how they pause here and there? They check the ground carefully. That's because of our last trap. They remember it, but that also makes them predictable. We can use that." Lily nodded, understanding for the first time how strategy could be more powerful than speed. "So we lead them somewhere we want?" "Yes," Jack said. "A place we can control. A trap we can make stronger." They moved quietly to a narrow part of the forest where the trees were thick and the ground uneven. Jack showed Lily how to set small tripwires and noise traps using vines, sticks, and stones. "Not to hurt them," he explained. "Just to slow them down, confuse them. Every mistake they make is our advantage." Lily worked carefully, her hands steady now. She was learning quickly. She realized that cleverness could be more important than strength. Even small humans could outsmart bigger, stronger hunters. By midday, they had finished the setup. Jack studied the area carefully. "This is perfect. They'll think the path is clear. But every step they take will teach them caution, and that makes them vulnerable." They hid in the trees nearby, watching silently. The hunters arrived, moving slowly and carefully. Lily's pulse quickened. One hunter stepped forward and tripped a tripwire, causing a loud clatter. The others froze, their heads turning sharply, glowing eyes scanning for danger. Jack whispered, "Now watch." Another hunter stepped on a hidden vine and stumbled. Lily held her breath. The hunters were confused, unsure where the traps were. Every step made them slower, more cautious. The humans were controlling the pace of the hunt without even fighting directly. "This is amazing," Lily whispered. "We're teaching them to be careful. They're afraid now." "Yes," Jack said. "Fear is a tool too. But notice something else. They hesitate. They trust less in their instincts. That's our advantage. Humans survive because we adapt and think, and now they are learning that the prey is clever." The hunters eventually left the trap area, more careful than ever. Lily and Jack moved quietly, following at a distance. Every movement they made was deliberate, every step calculated. They weren't running blindly anymore. They were leading, observing and learning. By evening, they reached a ridge overlooking a small valley. Jack crouched, studying the landscape. "This is good. High ground, good visibility. We can see them coming from a distance, and we can plan our next traps carefully." Lily looked at the valley below. The sun was low, casting long shadows. Birds flew quietly through the trees. The forest seemed peaceful, but both of them knew danger was near. Jack whispered, "The hunters are learning, but we are learning faster. We've survived this long because we observe, adapt, and trust each other. Now we start turning the tables." They spent the night in the ridge, making small improvements to their traps and hiding places. Lily felt proud. She had never thought she could survive in such a dangerous place, but now she realized humans could be more than prey. Humans could be clever, adaptable, and dangerous in ways the hunters didn't understand. The next day, they saw the hunters again, moving cautiously through the valley. Jack whispered, "They are still trying to find us. They are hesitant, confused. That's good. We can use that hesitation." They moved quietly, following the hunters without being noticed. Jack showed Lily how to predict their paths based on their previous patterns. "Every hunter has habits. Every team follows a routine. Watch carefully and we can use that against them." Hours passed as they observed. Lily began to notice small details. How one hunter always stepped on the same type of branch first. How another paused at every puddle of water. How the third always glanced at the sky before moving. Jack smiled. "Exactly. Patterns. We use patterns to plan our moves." By afternoon, they had prepared a larger trap. It was designed to confuse the hunters, block their path, and force them into a narrow area where Lily and Jack could control the outcome. They hid nearby, watching carefully. The hunters approached, moving slowly, cautious now. One stepped on a hidden branch and slipped slightly. Another triggered a small vine trap, causing a pile of leaves to fall noisily. The hunters paused, unsure what was happening. Jack whispered, "Now we move." Lily felt a thrill of excitement. They moved quickly but carefully, positioning themselves so that the hunters would be forced into the narrow area. Every step they took was calculated. Every movement was precise. The hunters stumbled into the trap zone, blocked by small barricades and confused by noise traps. They tried to move, but every step triggered another small trap, slowing them further. Lily and Jack stayed hidden, watching silently as the hunters became frustrated. "This is it," Jack whispered. "We're showing them that humans can think. They are not in control anymore. The prey is teaching the hunter." Lily felt a surge of confidence. She realized that survival was not just about running or hiding. It was about thinking, planning, and using every advantage. Humans were clever. Humans could adapt. Humans could survive. By evening, the hunters retreated, wary and cautious. Lily and Jack moved through the forest, careful but confident. They had survived another day and had begun to turn the hunt into something different. They were no longer just prey. They were players in the hunt. That night, they rested under the trees, talking quietly. "We've done well," Jack said. "They are cautious now. That hesitation is our strength. Tomorrow we continue. We don't just survive. We start leading the hunt." Lily nodded. She felt a strange pride. She had never thought she could survive something like this, let alone start controlling the outcome. But now she knew humans were more than prey. Humans were clever, adaptable, and dangerous in ways the hunters could not predict. The forest was quiet, but both of them stayed alert. Every sound, every movement could be a warning. But Lily and Jack no longer felt helpless. They had learned to trust each other, to think ahead, and to use the forest as their ally. By dawn, they were ready to move again. The hunters would come, but Lily and Jack would be ready. They had survived the first trials, learned patterns, set traps, and gained confidence. The game had changed. The hunters were no longer in full control. Humans were learning, adapting, and showing that trust, planning, and intelligence could be more powerful than brute strength. Lily and Jack moved quietly into the forest, ready to continue the fight. They didn't know what challenges awaited, but they knew one thing. Humans were not weak. Humans were clever, brave, and capable of surviving even the most dangerous hunt. The hunters had underestimated them, and that mistake would be costly. The forest was quiet, but Lily and Jack felt the tension in the air. They had survived the hunt for days, outsmarting the hunters at every turn. The traps, the observations, and the careful planning had given them confidence. Now they were ready for the final challenge, the lead hunter. Jack whispered, "This is it, Lily. We've led them through traps, slowed them down, and taught them to be cautious. But the lead hunter, he's different, smarter, stronger, more dangerous. If we want to survive, we have to plan perfectly." Lily nodded. She felt a mix of fear and excitement. She was no longer the scared girl who ran blindly. She was a survivor, a fighter, and she trusted Jack completely. They moved quietly through the forest, following a narrow path that led to a rocky ridge. Jack had studied the hunter's patterns, and he knew the lead hunter would take this path eventually. "We'll use the terrain," Jack whispered. "The ridge, the rocks, and the trees can be our advantage. We control the fight without facing him directly yet." They reached the ridge and crouched behind large boulders. From this vantage point, they could see a wide stretch of forest below. The sun was setting, painting the sky in red and gold. Shadows stretched across the ground, perfect for hiding. Lily glanced at Jack. "Do you think we can really do it? Face him?" Jack nodded. "We can. Not with strength, but with brains and trust. That's how humans survive. That's how we win." Hours passed as they waited. Lily's heart pounded every time she thought about the lead hunter. She remembered the first time she had seen him, a tall, imposing figure with glowing eyes that seemed to pierce the forest. He had been patient, calm, and terrifying. But now she realized something. He had underestimated humans. He didn't understand cleverness, observation, and trust. Finally, movement appeared in the distance. The lead hunter stepped through the trees, alone. His armor shimmered faintly, reflecting the last rays of sunlight. He paused, scanning the area carefully. His glowing eyes flicked from tree to tree, as if he could sense the humans nearby. Jack whispered, "Stay calm. Don't make a sound. Let him move closer." Lily crouched behind a boulder, gripping the knife tightly. Every muscle in her body was tense. She wanted to scream, run, or hide, but she forced herself to stay still. Trusting Jack was all she could do. The lead hunter moved slowly, stepping over fallen branches and avoiding traps they had set earlier. He was careful, methodical, and clearly intelligent. But Jack had prepared for this. "Now," Jack whispered. "We use the pit trap. It's shallow, but it will unbalance him." Lily watched as the lead hunter stepped into the trap. He stumbled slightly, his balance thrown off, but he didn't fall completely. He paused, scanning the area. Lily held her breath. "Good," Jack whispered. "He's cautious now. That hesitation is exactly what we need." The lead hunter moved forward again, more slowly this time. Jack had set small noise traps around the area. As the hunter stepped near one, a small pile of stones clattered to the ground. He froze, his glowing eyes scanning for movement. Lily whispered, "He's smart, Jack. He's noticing everything." "Yes," Jack said. "That's why we have to be smarter. He expects fear, but we'll give him something he doesn't expect. Humans thinking, humans planning, humans trusting each other." The hunter moved closer to the ridge where they were hiding. Jack whispered instructions to Lily. "We distract him. You throw the small rock first. Then I'll use the vines. Don't miss." Lily nodded, taking a deep breath. She picked up a small rock and threw it toward the opposite side of the clearing. It bounced off a tree and landed noisily. The lead hunter turned sharply, eyes narrowing, clearly distracted. "Now!" Jack shouted. He pulled on a vine, triggering a small net trap that lifted a few leaves and branches, making the ground appear unstable. The hunter hesitated, scanning the area, trying to understand what was happening. Lily felt a surge of confidence. "We're doing it," she whispered. "We're controlling the hunt." Jack smiled faintly. "Yes, but don't let your guard down. He's still dangerous." The lead hunter finally stepped into the open area of the ridge. He was cautious, scanning every detail. Lily and Jack stayed hidden, watching, waiting for the right moment. They knew they couldn't attack directly. Strength alone would not win. They had to use cleverness. Jack whispered, "Follow my lead. I'll draw him slightly toward the trees. You stay hidden, ready to act if needed. Trust me." The lead hunter moved closer, unaware of the small traps Jack had set along the ridge. Jack moved carefully, making subtle noises to draw the hunter toward a narrow path surrounded by trees and rocks. The hunter followed cautiously, clearly unsure. "Now," Jack whispered. "Use the vines again. Confuse him further." Lily pulled another vine, causing a small pile of branches to fall in front of the hunter. He stopped, surprised, and scanned the area. Jack moved silently behind a tree, ready to guide him further into the trap zone. The hunter realized too late that he had been led into a narrow area surrounded by rocks and small traps. He paused, assessing the situation. Lily and Jack watched silently. Every second counted. Jack whispered, "This is it. We make him hesitate again. That hesitation is everything. Humans survive because we can think faster and act smarter. He expects panic. We give him control." The lead hunter stepped forward carefully, testing the ground. He triggered a small tripwire, causing a noise that echoed through the trees. He froze, scanning the area, unsure where the sound came from. Lily felt a thrill of excitement. "We've got him," she whispered. "He doesn't know what's coming." Jack nodded. "Stay focused. He may be strong, but he's not smarter than us. Not when we trust each other and plan every move." The hunter moved again, slowly, carefully. He was cautious now, his glowing eyes scanning every shadow. Lily realized he was learning too. He was adapting, but Jack had anticipated this. "Time to end this," Jack whispered. "We force him to hesitate, then we make him retreat. We don't fight with strength. We fight with brains." Jack moved subtly, making small noises that guided the hunter closer to another hidden trap. The hunter stepped on it, causing a pile of leaves and sticks to fall noisily. He froze again, scanning the area, clearly frustrated. "That's it," Lily whispered. "He's losing control." Jack smiled faintly. "Exactly. That hesitation, that frustration, it's our advantage. Humans survive because we adapt, and now he is learning that prey can be dangerous." The hunter moved cautiously, but every step triggered another small trap. Lily and Jack stayed hidden, observing, learning his movements. They didn't need to fight directly. They controlled the situation with cleverness and trust. Finally, the lead hunter realized he could not advance safely. He paused, scanning the area one last time, and slowly, deliberately, began to retreat. Lily and Jack watched silently, hearts pounding. "We did it," Lily whispered. "He's backing off." Jack nodded. "Yes, he learned something important. Humans are not weak. We survive because we think, because we trust each other, and because we adapt. That's our strength." The lead hunter disappeared into the forest, cautious and frustrated. The smaller hunting teams had already retreated after the traps earlier. Lily and Jack were alone, safe for the first time in days. Lily leaned against a tree, exhausted but smiling. "We actually did it. We survived the hunt, and we beat them at their own game." Jack smiled. "Yes, but remember, it's not strength that won today. It's brains, patience, and trust. Fear is what they expected. Confidence and cleverness are what we gave them. That's how humans survive." Lily realized he was right. The hunt had tested them, forced them to adapt, and made them cleverer than they had ever been. She felt proud, not just of surviving, but of learning to trust, plan, and act together. That night, they rested under the stars. The forest was quiet now. The hunters had retreated, but Lily and Jack knew they had changed. The hunters would never underestimate humans again. Lily whispered, "Jack, we actually did it. We survived the most dangerous hunt I can imagine." Jack nodded. "Yes, and the lesson is clear. Humans survive because we trust each other, think ahead, and adapt. Strength alone is not enough. That's what makes us dangerous." Lily smiled faintly, looking up at the sky. She felt different now, stronger, smarter, braver. She had faced fear, learned, and survived. The forest, the hunters, the traps. They had all taught her something important. Humans were clever. Humans could endure. Humans could turn even a deadly game into a fight they could control. The hunt was over. Lily and Jack were free, stronger than before, and ready for whatever challenges might come next. And somewhere deep in the forest, the hunters would remember the lesson. Never underestimate humans.